Today is Monday of the 20th week in Ordinary Time. Ezekiel is the strangest of all the prophets. Today's first reading comes on the eve of the Babylonians' destruction of Jerusalem and the Israelites' 500-mile forced march into a generation of slavery. To warn people of the sorrow and suffering awaiting them, Ezekiel announces that his beloved wife will die, and that the Lord has forbidden him to observe any of the traditional rites for the dead. Ezekiel is to prophesy, the Lord says, out of his own unrequited grief and heartbreak, to forewarn the Israelites of what is about to befall them. Why? Because the Israelites have failed to remain faithful to the covenant. They have become secularized, ignoring what God has done for them and their ancestors, living for themselves, some with sobriety perhaps, but many hitting the bars and the beaches and chasing after prestige, possessions, and power. Just like the rich young man in the gospel today. He wasn't a bad person, but he lived for his wealth rather than rejoicing in God's love for him and serving the cause of much-needed justice. How about our own day? Personal and corporate sin work grave injustices in our country that threaten the well-being of the people and of our democracy itself. People ignore science, refusing to wear masks and visit violence on any who call them to account. Politicians ignore science and push for reopening businesses and for children to return to school. The billionaire Secretary of Education channels public funds to private religious schools. The Secretary of the Treasury, who left Goldman Sachs with $46 million in stock and $12 million in salary, balks at $600 per family in unemployment relief. The president refuses to fund the post office, and even now is removing sorting machines from post offices and mailboxes from street corners. Can you hear Ezekiel speaking to us today? Listen to YouTube posts from Colton Kelly, a 19-year-old Texan who is president of Seeking Wisdom Ministries that has 100,000 followers. He is warning that Jesus is about to come and inaugurate the end times. Of course, people have been predicting Jesus' imminent return for centuries, so who can tell if this young man is right or not? Whatever conclusion we come to, though, we must admit the enormity of the crisis that threatens our lives and our democracy. The prophets are right. We must respond in some way. Rend your souls, they say. Speak the truth. Love your enemies. Fight for justice. Prepare the way of the Lord.